Okay, I see Ian has already joined, although I cannot see where you are, Ian, but sorry. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, because I can see you, Ian. Sorry, there are more than 100 people. I couldn't see you. I was trying to look for you in these 5 pages of pictures. So hello,
Not a
everybody.
problem.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us in this call that you all know that is going to be focused on this amazing new market that is China, and to talk about China and to explain to everybody
Recording in progress.
Steps we are taking. We have one special guest that is Ian Chandler. Ian joined immediately. He's going to talk about himself just briefly so he can explain better who he is and his previous experience and what he does. But Ian joined Immunotec some months ago, and he's just focusing on the Chinese market. He has extensive experience, as he will share, and we are really glad to have you with all of us, Ian. Here you have a group of Spanish, French, Swiss, German, English, all over Europe consultants that they are really interested about this amazing and incredible market as China, not only because of the size, but also because it's quite unknown for all of us, not only in terms of business, but also in terms of culture, of everything. So thank you again, and please go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Good morning, everyone. For some of you, it's probably very early. For others, just a little bit early. But so you know, I am not a morning person. So thank you for waking up early, because that's a lot to ask for. Guys, it is a privilege to be a part of Immunotec. I have been with the company for 2 months officially, almost 3 months, but I've been working with Immunotec for the past 2 years. And we've been working together to open up the China market in a very, very, very special way. So some quick background about me. I have been in the industry for 21 years, and I started in USANA, and then we started our own company called RX, and then we sold RX during COVID, and I retired, and I thought I was done. And then a friend of mine called me and said, Ian, can you please help be a consultant to help bring my US company into China and then bring that company internationally? And this was my dear friend from China. In fact, he was my previous manager of my company called RX. His name is Jerry. And I said, Jerry, I would love to help support you. You and I have been friends for 18 years. How can I help? And so I started consulting for him. And then about a month later, his investors stopped paying the bills. And he said, I have a problem. I don't know how to move forward, so I guess I'm just going to have to stop this plan. And I said, well, wait a second, Jerry. You are going to do a joint venture in China with a US product and a Chinese company that has a direct sales license. And you had that arranged because he was friends with the founder of that company. And Jerry says, yes. And I said, sir, we have been trying for a decade to get a license in China, and China stopped giving licenses in 2017. Are you okay if I call some friends and we find a good international partner to use that joint venture opportunity? Because it is so rare. And my friend Jerry said, of course, no problem. So I flew to China. I met the owners of the Chinese company. I met with my friend Jerry. And I said, this is crazy. This company has been around for 30 years. They have a 40-acre headquarters. In that headquarters, they have a 12-story office. They have a 2,000-seat stadium, and that stadium is for doing events and meetings. And I said, this is unbelievable. And so I called my friend Deanna Latson. She and I have been business partners for 15 years, and we were co-founders of the company RX. And Deanna said, I think I should call Mauricio Domenzain. She says, I'm going to give him a call. So she sends him a text message and says, Mauricio, long time no see. We have something special in China. Are you interested? And within 5 minutes, Mauricio responds and says, yes. Within 2 weeks, we were back in China with Mauricio, Luis, Michelle, Mitch, Topaki. We all flew to China. And in the first week, we signed an agreement to say, let's use this joint venture opportunity to introduce the Immunotec brand into China. And we've been working for the last 2 years to prepare for that and to make it official. So in that time, I went from knowing a little bit about Immunotec to now, guys, I'm in love with your product. I am in love with the opportunity. I'm in love with the people. It is amazing and only gets better every single day. So that's a little of my background, but I love this industry. It really does help the average person change their lives to anything but average, right? In the worst case, people go from being average and not healthy to being very healthy. But in the best case, how many people have we seen literally live their dreams through this industry? So I love it. And I'm so honored and so excited to be doing this together. But I will admit, I am a little bit disappointed. I am disappointed that I have been promoting supplements for 21 years and I never heard the glutathione story. That to me is embarrassing. For 21 years, I had never heard it. And the reason I had never heard it, of course, is because it is patented. Yes, there's glutathione products, and yes, there's glutathione shots, but we know those don't work. Only what we have, only Immunocal can deliver the meaningful, undenatured whey protein isolate with bonded cysteine, and only that can give our bodies and our cells glutathione from the inside out. And that to me is such a beautiful story. So I am in love with this product and I'm super excited and honored to be part of bringing this to China. So that's a little bit of an introduction, but I'd like to take the next 30 minutes to explain what we're doing in China and how we're doing it. And then we'll have time for Q&A, lots of questions, and you may ask as many questions as you want. I believe in being transparent, and I believe in letting you ask whatever questions you have, because when you don't have questions, then we can start to build a plan together, and the rest is fun, okay? So I'm going to share my screen, and we'll start with the presentation. And if you have questions, please type your questions in the chat box. Sound good? Let's go. All right. Aurelio, my friend, can you see my screen? Perfect. Let's get started. So first of all, what is happening now and what is not happening now? We're going to go through all of the details, but really I want everyone to be fully confident that this launch is going to be special. We'll talk about how to actually start building and preparing to build for China now, how we can be compliant and have confidence and do it the right way. So we'll be talking about how China business model actually works. We have it broken down into 2 phases, and we'll talk about those 2 phases. We'll go through how to order, how to pay, how to ship a product, and how the data flow works. And then we'll talk about some things to do and some things not to do. So kind of what I talked about in my introduction, if you remember nothing except for this, I promise you this is a very, very special introduction. In 20 years of being in network marketing, we took USANA into China, we took RX into China. None of those will have the same impact or the same opportunity that we have with Immunotec. It has been 8 years since the last time an international brand was brought into China with a direct sales license. 8 years. So I promise you, I just got off a phone call with a doctor who had been in USANA and she was in isogenics. And in 20 minutes, she said, "This is great. You're going to close a lot of people because you solved our biggest problems." And I'll talk about that. But trust me when I say this will be very, very special. Okay? The timing is amazing. And we're looking for leaders who want to do this the right way. Right? So there's timing on the when. We'll talk about Hong Kong and we'll talk about China. And then we'll talk about ordering. So let me just jump down. Obviously, there is a huge demand in China for supplements. In America or Europe, I think people who like being healthy take supplements. In China, even people who don't live a healthy lifestyle, they all admit and accept that taking supplements is a very important part of health. So no one is going to say no to supplements. Like no one. The question is which supplement and why, okay? Next, they're looking for something that doesn't just work. They're looking for a smarter approach. So China very much, I mean, if you look at like electric cars from China, it's always about the next generation, the newest technology, the best opportunity. And so what we have, in my opinion, is a much smarter delivery system of the most powerful antioxidant on the planet. Because instead of going around the cells with antioxidants, hoping those antioxidants find the cells that have a need, we send bonded cysteine directly to the cell. It creates its own glutathione shield from the inside out. And that is way smarter than the old traditional approach. It is AI, and everything else before was just Google. So that story in China is very special, and no one knows that story. Every time I tell it, they understand immediately, and they ask me, how do I get the product? So I promise it will be an easy sell because we truly have something that is different. But it's not just another supplement coming in, it's an entire category. And so, again, I got off a 30-minute phone call. After 20 minutes, she was asking how to get the product. This was a doctor who's familiar with supplements, and in no time, she understood the story and why it's better. They're also looking for international companies that have integrity, companies that want to be around for the long term. So if we were a new company that had only been around for 1 or 2 years, that's probably a big problem. People will not believe you when you say, we're stable, we're trustworthy, you can trust us. By having a 30-year reputation to uphold, it is much more easy for a Chinese leader to say, your company's been around for 30 years, you're stable. Mauricio became the founder 8 years ago. In those 8 years, you've only grown in sales, grown in momentum. There's no negative press. All of that is very special. But last but not least, we're doing it the right way. So for people who care about doing it the right way, and in China, yes, there's a lot of people who will join Ponzi schemes. There's a lot of people who will just do things for money. That's who we want. That's not who we are. But for people who really are passionate about making it their life's mission to promote effective products, real science, and a real opportunity, they are going to love what we have to offer. I promise you that. So the way that we're doing this is actually really special. I talked about the joint venture, and that joint venture entity is with a company called Dalian Shuangdi. Okay, that's Chinese, and unfortunately, they don't have an English name. So I'm just going to type in chat, and you can see Shuangdi Technology. Limited. Okay, and this is the company that has the direct sales license in China. This is crazy. They have been in existence also for 30 years. They have had a direct sales license since 2015. Dalian Shuangdi is amazing because they are honest and hardworking and they care. And you don't live to be 30 years old in network marketing unless you care and you're honest and you do business the right way. So we have been working for the last 18 months to prepare the joint venture, and that will go live in November. So at that time, when we go live, people who enroll in the business will technically and legally be a Shuangdi consultant. But the product and brand that they are promoting is Immunotec, Immunocal, the boosters, all of those products. The compensation plan will be global and seamless, connected to the rest of Immunotec with the same rules that you have now, with a few little minor adjustments to be competitive in China. But your PV there will be PV here. Your CV there will be CV here. All of the bonuses you can earn today will continue even with a team in China, or for them, if they build a team in Italy, they can earn from their Italian team even though they are in China. So the joint venture setup is really special because we get the best of both worlds. Now, I want to be very clear. Here is what it is not. This is not Immunotec buying a license. This is not Immunotec renting a license. This is us working together to create a joint venture company. The parent of that company is the Shuangdi company with the license. So legally, you and I who have teams in China, those teams will be Shuangdi consultants, and that's really important. But our brand, our product, our business remains the same international opportunity that we have today. And that is why it is so special. It has never been done this way. And we have spent 2 years preparing to make sure that this foundation is going to be long-lasting, and loved by both the government and our customers and our consultant teams. Now, before November, there's a lot of people who want to try the product, who want to start to refer other people to the brand, who want to introduce Immunotec to their friends and family within China. So from now until November, we have already opened the cross-border e-commerce platform from Hong Kong. This allows customers or consultants in China to buy from the Hong Kong website. We then ship from Hong Kong to their home, and they can get the product, but they cannot retail the product. It can only be for personal consumption. It's an NFR, not for retail strategy. And so we have already started that, and we'll learn in a minute how to do that order, how to place an order, how to do all those things. But that is important because even though the official launch is in November, people in China today can buy a product, can buy Immunocal. When they buy that product, you still get PV and CV. You can still earn commissions from them buying. They can refer people as a Hong Kong consultant. They can refer people to try the product, and they can earn CV and PV in the same rules that we have internationally today. So that's huge. What does that mean? That means today we are open for business in China, referring the Immunotec brand and product, and we are preparing for the joint venture launch in November, which I believe will be the greatest celebration of health and opportunity our industry has ever seen in China. So real quick, again, let's talk Hong Kong. This is phase 1. It is cross-border. It is not for retail, for personal consumption, but they can refer friends, refer people, and still earn commissions. My goal over the next 4 months is to get thousands and thousands of product testimonial stories. I want to launch in November in the stadium at our headquarters with 2,000 people in the room. And I want all of them to stand up to show their blood test. And on that blood test, it said, "This is me before I used Immunocal. Here was my glutathione level. This is me after 90 days or 60 days or 30 days. And here is my chart showing an increase in bioavailable glutathione as a result of using the product." Can you imagine 2,000 people, all with their test, saying this is what our product can do? It's game over. And that is really important. I think you need to understand this. For every other supplement that comes from an international market into China, or every supplement, 2 things happen. First, if they don't have a direct sales license, they are going to be severely limited in their ability to grow. Second, the formula always changes. What you get in China is usually watered down. It's maybe 70% or 60% or 50% of the original international formula. And that to me is sad. Guys, Immunocal, the full 10 grams of undenatured whey protein isolate with patented bonded cysteine, our original formula that is amazing and patented, those 10 grams, guess how much of that we can deliver in China? 100%. There is no change to the formula. That means that what works for everyone in America or Europe or Mexico or Latin America will also work for our customers in China. And that is huge. I can't tell you how amazing that is. Like, I know for you, you're like, well, what's the big deal? Most companies, in fact, none of the US companies that have direct sales licenses in China, none of them have international formulas for their hero products. We do, and that is amazing, okay? So I'm super excited for this. Let's talk about how you can refer people today in China to try the product through the cross-border NFR platform. The website is immunotec.hk. Immunotec.hk. And it's very simple. It's just shopping. They choose a product, add it to the cart, choose their shipping address. We have included taxes and shipping into the price. So the price that your customers see is the only price that they will ever see. And that keeps it very simple because Chinese are used to that. So let me share my screen about how they can place an order, and we'll go through immunotec.hk. So once you get to the website, they have a choice for language. It can be Chinese or it can be English. Those are the two languages we have now. Once they choose their language, then they can choose their pack. We have a lot of great packs. The pricing is inclusive of tax and shipping. Okay. Once they choose their pack, it's really easy. They add to cart. Once they go to add to cart, this is where they type in the referral ID of the enroller. And that's really important. So because we're using Shopify for the first month, this is how you type in the ID. You just type it right in there, and then our system will take that and we will automatically make that the enroller and the sponsor of your new person in China. Right now we do not have anything for customers. It is only consultants. Okay. So once you input that information, then we go on to the shipping address. Now it's important to know that the shipping address is for China. If you have people outside of China in Asia that you want to get product, please work with Aurelio to message me directly, and I will assign an employee to help support that. So this is only for shipping in China. And for a customer who is in China, it's very easy for them. They choose their country. They put in their name. Oh, sorry. Let's try this. I used the whiteboard. They put in their name. And in Chinese, the last name goes here. Okay, this is the last name, the surname, right? And this is their first name. But of course, in English, it will say that. Then their full address. And then this part is really important. This is their area code. And once they input that area code, then it will automatically populate. They also need to choose from a drop-down menu. They need to choose the province that they are in. So there are 23 provinces, 5 special cities, a couple of other special administrative regions, but all of those options are here. Then they choose their city and the area. And if it's not perfect, that's okay. Our shippers can clarify with them or follow up and make sure that they've got the right information. But the most important is the area code, the province, the city, and then whatever they put here, our shipper is going to figure out the rest. So don't worry about it being perfect, but that's how you would do it perfectly if you wanted to. Of course, input your phone number, and then once the phone number is in there, it's very straightforward. Your options for payment. In China, they use Union Pay. So every bank card, whether it's a credit card or a debit card, every bank card in China has Union Pay. And that is what they can use to pay now. Of course, they could use Visa or MasterCard or American Express, but most of your customers in China will use Union Pay. Okay? I strongly recommend that they do not choose this. This says, use my same address from my shipping address. I strongly recommend don't use that. Make them type it again for the billing address, because sometimes those are different. It is an option, what I would recommend for the first time, just have them type it in again, even if it's the same. This is important, guys. Again, we accept UnionPay as the major payment method for Chinese people. We also accept debit and credit. Now, some of you might say, I want to place an order for my customer or my downline in China. If you do that, then a really, really important thing is for you to contact your bank first. Okay, so customers in China or Hong Kong can use UnionPay and it will process no problem. But if you're using a credit card from America, from Europe, from Spain, from anywhere else outside of China, please call your bank first. Otherwise, I promise you, they will not allow the payment to go through. They look at you and say, well, you're clearly in Spain. Why is your credit card being used in a new Shopify store for Chinese products over here? Like that, your bank will not allow that. That is not us who restricts that. That is your bank. So it is much easier if you call your bank first and say, hey, I'm going to place an order in a Hong Kong website. Let me know when I can do that. And then they will give you a time frame, usually an hour or so at the longest. And that will help avoid any unnecessary drama from your bank, right? No one likes to wait and say, when can I please pay my order? So call your bank first. Again, if they're in China, it won't be a problem. If they're outside of China, it could be a problem. Again, this is the billing address. This one, you can actually choose any country around the planet. So shipping was restricted to only Europe, but billing address, this could be, again, if you're paying from Italy, you could choose Italy, you can choose your name, your address, your area code, all of that things, all of the different addresses, and that will work for the billing address, okay? And then last but not least, for Chinese customers, they are expecting an 18-digit ID number. And everyone in China has this, okay? If you don't have that or you don't know that, then you can type in any 18 numbers and we will accept it, okay? But just know that it's better if you have their actual ID number. And in China, it's actually quite common for them to place that, to give that when placing an order, so they will not be frightened by giving their information. But if you don't have it, you can put in any 18 numbers and we will allow you to take an order. Guys, that's it. That's how you place an order. It's that simple. So not very difficult. What happens once the order goes through? Then we give that to our third-party logistics team. They will send out the orders on a daily basis. And the next day, you'll be able to see your volume in your back office. So PV and CV will show up the next day. So if they place an order today, tomorrow you can see your volumes. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, and again, like I said before, this is really special because whether it's in the Hong Kong personal use order or the future joint venture, it's going to be the exact same product, the same story, the same formula, the same quality, everything. And that's really important. That's, again, never been done. Sure, if they have a fruit juice, that's probably the same, right? So like Amway, they have a fruit juice. It's probably the same in America as it is in China. But if it's a supplement that actually works, that has clinical doses of effective ingredients, you don't find those in China. I can think of one exception, like Tahitian noni, because it's a juice. That's it. Everything else that has a nutritional supplements label in China, it will be 70% of the international formula. Not us. It is 100% the same. So that is huge. Okay, timeline. This is important, okay? So these core Immunocal products will be manufactured in China using a pre-made, pre-mixed mix from our provider and our manufacturer partner in the US. So Glanbia, who we use today for all of our Immunocal, they will send that in bulk into China. We will then work with our manufacturing partner in China to put it in the boxes and pouches in China. We are already working to make sure that that process is totally the same, is completely qualifying to all of our very strict quality requirements. And I have been on the phone with the quality team at least once a week for the last month and a half as we prepare for them. But that's amazing because these products will be available locally in the joint venture, and then these products will be available from our cross-border e-commerce personal use NFR Hong Kong lane. Okay, so starting today, all of the products will come through Hong Kong, but after we launch in November, these products will be available in China from the joint venture, and the products on the right will be available only through Hong Kong. So we will have a dual system, and the reason we do that is to protect the integrity of the formula. So you might be wondering, why do we need the joint venture to begin with? Because in China, you cannot do direct sales without a license. Sure, you can probably get away with it for the first year, but as soon as your revenue hits 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million US dollars, the government will shut you down so fast. We don't want that. What we want is long-term availability and long-term solid foundation. That only comes with the direct sales license protection. And that only comes through the joint venture. To have the joint venture, you must have your products registered in China, which is why I'm so happy that these formulas will not have to change in China. That is a miracle, and I believe one of the reasons why we are here today. Let's talk about the joint venture. Oh, real quick, I'm so sorry. During the cross-border Hong Kong phase, we will pay commissions according to the international rules through PayQuicker. PayQuicker is our current hyper wallet provider that I believe you are using in Europe, and they are great. They can pay directly into a bank account in China every week and every month once they set up their PayQuicker account. And that is amazing. That's actually quite astounding. So guys, we're in business. Today, we can ship a product, we can take an order, and we can pay commissions today. They don't have to wait till November, but of course, the official launch will be in November. Never been done. That has never been done. So from now until November, we want to get thousands of customers to fall in love with Immunocal, to fall in love with Immunotec, the brand. We want to fuel their dreams and their success with happiness, right? That's who we are, and it's an amazing opportunity. So from now until November, my job is to become dear friends with your friends. When you have people in China or people in Europe who have friends or family in China, and they want to come and build the Immunocal and Immunotec opportunity, my team is responsible to help get them the information they need, to share tools, to share our passion and our opportunity that we have to get them excited and to start to build their business. So, like I said, every day I get on phone calls and I talk to leaders, and within 20 minutes, most of them can immediately see the vision and the dream that is possible because we have such a special opportunity with a license and with a product that is not watered down and actually works. So what I need you to do is, if you know anyone with friends or family in China, ask them one question. Do you know anyone who is passionate about health and wants to learn more about a business opportunity? Our company is going to launch our brand in China, and we are looking for partners to help make that happen. That's it. Ask that question 10 times a day, 20 times a day, 50 times a day. And what everyone will answer is, I would like to do that. I would like to be on the ground floor. I would like to be first. And even if they don't want to, they know somebody who does. And then you're going to have me on phone call after phone call after phone call, and we are going to close and close and close until we have thousands of people in November with their blood report showing their glutathione levels going through the roof, and another report showing their paycheck going in the same direction. That will be a very, very fun launch. In November, we will have our official joint venture company launch. And that is when we will make the announcement that the Immunotec brand is officially in China under the joint venture with our partner who owns the license. Again, we are not buying a license. We are not acquiring a company with a license. We are not renting a license. We are creating a joint venture to introduce the Immunotec brand into China, protected by the license. But the same quality, the same product, and the same opportunity. And that's huge. The joint venture matters because if you don't have a direct sales license, have you heard of the company called Genes? Have you heard of a company called Monavi? Have you heard of a company called Isogenics? I could go on and on and on. There are so many companies that had amazing potential in China. And today they are completely gone. They don't exist because they got too big and never had a license, never did it the right way. And when that happens, it just falls apart. So this really is special. And we plan on this being the most impactful opportunity and company in China 5 years from now and 10 years from now, growing and growing. Let's talk about compliance. Now look at this slide. Do you see how there's no writing on it? How it's completely empty? That is intentional. So China is very interesting. They created the rules and regulations for network marketing 21 years ago. In 2005, they created the rules. And then since then, no one in the government wants to even touch the rules. They don't want to make a change. They don't want to create a new law. They don't want to fix anything. They just want to let it be. Because on the one hand, they love our industry because it creates jobs, creates opportunity, it pays taxes. They love that. But on the other hand, for bad players in the industry, it causes a lot of headaches. When companies lie and cheat, when they try to just Ponzi scheme or pyramid scheme people's money, then the whole industry suffers. And so as a result, the government has a very peculiar arrangement, a very strange arrangement. One of the arrangements, one of the rules is we do not teach the compensation plan publicly. So when you come to an event, you do not go on stage and teach the compensation plan. You don't talk about multiple levels of pay. And you say, Ian, that is crazy. Why? The answer is, you just don't. If you have a direct sales license, or if you don't have a direct sales license, it doesn't matter. This is because the rules say you cannot be multiple levels of pay. And yet, Amway, Herbalife, Nu Skin, Melaleuca, USANA, every single company in China pays multiple levels. So why is it this conflict? And the answer is the rules are outdated, but no one wants to update the rules. So the government says, we know you're paying multiple levels. You know that we know that you are paying multiple levels. We're okay with that. That's not a problem. If you cause too much trouble, then we'll say, hey, we're going to fine you or kick you out of the country because you're paying multiple levels. So they have an excuse to take care of you if you're a problem. But if you're not a problem and you follow best practices, we don't lie, we don't cheat, we don't exaggerate. If we follow best practices, everyone's happy, including the government. But because they have it in the rules, that means that we all have to play this game. And the game is we don't publicly write about the compensation plan or teach it. So you're saying, Ian, how do I do this market if I can't teach the compensation plan? Very simple. You will have a tool that teaches the compensation plan. That tool will be translated into Chinese. But on the slide, it says European markets only for your reference only. And that is the way that we have to do it. If it is a written document, it must always say European, applicable for Europe, or applicable for USA, or applicable for Mexico. It must say that on the slides. So you're going to see in my presentation that I have that is translated into Chinese, it says US applicable only. And that is the game we play, and everyone does it the same way. Amway, Herbalife, everyone, okay? So that is not a weird thing, that is just welcome to China. Next, please, 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 please do not exaggerate the truth. When you want to tell a story about Immunocal helping somebody with a health problem, give them the full picture. I had cancer, they had cancer. This was part of their process to fight cancer. Here's what it did. Here's what glutathione can do. Here's the public study. That's it. Don't go say it cured cancer. Don't go do chemotherapy. Like, that will cause trouble. We never recommend. We always say your doctor should tell you what to do. But here's how glutathione can help support you in your health need. And we have translated all of the patents and all of the clinical studies so that you can just share that as a document and tell them where to look if they have a health need. But don't go on social media saying, we cured cancer. That will be a problem, okay? That's my section on compliance. And really, we just want to do this the right way, with integrity. Let's teach about the amazing science, the amazing story we have with products. Let's share the stories of transformation, the stories of health protection. Let's share the stories of success from the opportunity. How many millionaires, how many middle income families have been blessed because of our opportunity? Share those stories all day long, absolutely. But set the expectations to be realistic. Please protect what we have put together. With a direct sales license in the joint venture, this is very special. Let's not harm that. Let's not risk that. It's not worth it, okay? Please do not use AI to create pictures of the president of China holding Immunocal. I already saw one in social media, and I promise that will get us in trouble. In fact, that could be a big problem with the joint venture company. So please do not use AI to show famous people in China or politicians in China using our product. I believe we will get those photos anyways with real people, but do not use AI to do that. That'll get us in trouble, okay? Guys, China is an amazing opportunity. So just a few things to be prepared for. Number one, everything, not anything, everything is possible in China. There's a solution. There's a way to make everything work. Number two, nothing is easy. It's going to be, you have to have lots of patience. Don't go build China if you don't have patience. And if you don't have, the patience, just be very patient, okay? You will underestimate how fast they do business. If you get off a phone call and you say you're going to send them a document, if you send it 1 minute later, you're probably in line with their expectations. If it's a day later, that will feel so slow to them, so slow. If you send it a week later, they will have forgotten your name and they're already on to the next thing. So be fast as you can. Next, when they say you don't understand China, that just means they disagree, okay? The question, should I lead by the business or lead by the product? The answer is yes. And that is why China is such an amazing market. They want it all. They want everything good that we have, the culture, the passion, the company, the product, the opportunity. They want it all. And so we have to prove that we are superior to other opportunities across every single category. And that's easy to do. When you're optimistic, just remember nothing is easy. And when you're discouraged, just remember everything is possible in China. So guys, with that, I want to turn the time over to you. Let's go through some questions, get some answers answered. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you so very much. Okay. Are there product information sheets in Chinese? Of course. So I will be sending those to Aurelio and the team. And Aurelio, however you want your team to share that with our leaders, please see fit. But I will send those to you probably later tonight, if that works. Next question. Is Immunotec going to provide the blood tests for the participants? Yes. We have it for a very low price, I think it's like $20 US. The parent company, Shuangdi, that has the license, they own a gene testing facility inside the headquarters where they do blood testing, and we will be able to test for glutathione, the glutathione precursor, before and after. So for top leaders, yes, we will allow them to do the blood test to prove the product works. And that's pretty interesting. Patricia, I'm from Spain. I've been doing business with China for 2 years. Please feel free to contact me. I know a lot of people there. That's amazing. Patricia, I'm going to reach out to you. Let's make some new friends. Perfect. Okay. Do they have to be officially residents in China? I don't know that I understand the question. If it's someone who is living in China, but they're not Chinese, then of course they can still buy through the Hong Kong order. When they place their ID, just put any 18 numbers that you want to. That will work. Next question. So we can make consultants, but not customers. Yes. In November, when we launch the joint venture, then we can have customers then. But technically, everyone's a customer. So even if they're a consultant, they can buy the product. And remember, in China, I am not allowed to have a startup fee. So I cannot force them to buy the starter kit. So that means that even if they're enrolling as a consultant, you can refer any product, even one box of Immunocal, and they don't have to pay for the starter fee. So it's very similar to being a customer. Estebalin says, but glutathione measurement is not easy. I agree. We are working very closely with Jimmy Gutman, Dr. Gutman, to make sure that the type of testing we do for blood testing can actually measure the glutathione levels the correct way. So he is overseeing all of that. Next, do they have to buy 2000 PV? They will be consultants and they will be able to refer people after that. Yes. However, we also have a 1000 PV pack that will qualify them as venture. So look for those packs, and it says it right there in the immunotec.hk site. Are such cheap tests reliable? Yes, if they are done the correct way. Okay. Jeannie is asking, est-ce que les clients peuvent bénéficier des avantages client fidèles? I don't speak French. Aurelio, do you want to help me with that question, sir?
One question, please. One question. Is possible? Can you hear me?
Yes, almost.
Okay. It's possible that I make a consultant here in Spain from China, and he can start to sell here in Spain from Chinese people?
Of course.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The next question. Can customers benefit from loyalty program advantages? Good question. Not yet. Starting in November, we will have the customer program, but today we do not have it. Mm-hmm. Sergey asked the question, where is the company Shuangdi based? And actually, Dalian is the name of the city. It is a beautiful city in China. Okay, let me find the next question. The next question. Okay. What about monthly rebuy of the product the consultants must do? Can they buy separate boxes or just kits? Great question. Of course, they can buy separate boxes. Not a problem. They can also buy kits. Either is okay. Next, as I understand, network marketing is not something that Chinese companies do or know legally.
Yeah.
That is why we don't show the compensation plan. No. So direct sales is legal if you have a license.